onto the swords. So, like I said, it would be a short video. It's going to be quite limited in terms of the designs we're going to explore because I've only got 3. Okay, so you can see here I've only got 3 designs and they're basically all the same. Well, they're very, very similar. It's a sword that's being held on at 2 different points. Okay, and I do expect her sword to be in a scabbard of some kind, but the holsters themselves will kind of just be a 2-point fixture, something simple like this. Okay, so we've got the kind of katana ones here that seem to be resting down the side of this man's leg, which looks okay. Or we can go a little bit lower there, which I'm not too much a fan of. I kind of feel like if she does any sort of running, that katana is going to do a good job of busting up her knee, so I'm going to discount that idea. And I do have to say that I am a fan of this almost Witcher-esque like belt apparatus here, because it reminds me of the front belt apparatus she has here. Okay, so I feel like having that on the back will help complement what's also displayed on the front. So I'm going to go for this one. Okay, so unlike the holsters and stuff like that, we don't need 2, we just need the 1. So I'll copy that image in here, and I'll do my best to kind of interpret it and maybe perhaps put my own spin on it. So let's go ahead and we'll draw very much the same kind of angle. We've got a belt that goes around there, it just disappears into oblivion. Now we've got a belt that comes in there. Now we've got this wrapped around something, so we'll leave it like that. And then we've got let's see, we could just employ a circle for now. That's alright, we'll employ a circle for now. We can always change it up a little bit later on. Okay, and then we've got another belt that kind of hangs down here and attaches itself to the lower section of the scabbard. That's fine, and that is also seemingly affixed with another ring that attaches to the scabbard itself. Let's move that over. So okay, we've got I guess it's just kind of fastened on somewhere. And then we've got the scabbard going down there. Now the scabbard is something I'm very much going to not even design at this point. I think there's very, very kind of limited options you can do for a scabbard. And because we're not really going to spend time on making a sword, a scabbard is something I'll worry about a little later on. Okay, and then we've got a part of the apparatus here that just seems to follow around to the front. I'll make that belt a bit thicker to keep it in theme with the rest of the character's belts. There we go, and that just disappears around the front. Scabbard itself, I am keen for that to have 2 belts clasped around it. Again, it just keeps the theme going. Okay, now what could we change about this kind of ring-based apparatus here? Well, there's probably not too much we can do with that, especially because it's a 3-point kind of ring, but you could also be adventurous and actually just make it a triangle. You could, why not? The only reason why you probably wouldn't is because it's a bit unconventional, isn't it? It's almost expected to be a ring at this point, which is like, yeah, okay, you can kind of see reasons for that. But I will do one thing, and I will change the ring down here to actually be a square buckle instead. Yep, something like that. Okay, again, just for a bit of variation. These belts want to move, and with a triangular-based apparatus, you might not be able to do that, hence why it's a circle in the first place. It's a bit of movement here available. Let's see, I think, could that be a thing? A triangular apparatus? Yeah, probably not, But okay, let's say we're going to keep the circle function. Can we kind of change how it is? Maybe we could turn it into an octagon? Could do. I suppose there's nothing really stopping us from doing that. Kind of makes a bit of sense, but maybe not amazing sense. Something like that. Okay. And the belts, let's see, we could just have the stitching in there. That's fine. Carry that round all the way to the front. Now, you might be thinking, well, what kind of sword is she going to have? I don't know. That's the truthful answer. I don't actually know. because we need a few straps down here kind of holding this in as well, because there's a part of me that would like to give her a straight up katana, because the way I imagine she would employ the use of the blade would be for an almost kind of single swipe deal, which is what katanas kind of do. It's meant to be almost like the single strike is meant to fell the enemy, right? But at the same time, I feel like there have been too many designs already that combine a cowboy and a samurai, and I feel like it's a bit overdone. So I'm not really keen on just making it another katana, but perhaps something like a saber. A saber is what is expected. A claymore would be a bit too big. So it could be a custom blade. It doesn't have to necessarily fit one of the categories that already pre-exist in real life. It could be a claytana. Claytana, there you go. It will be a claytana blade. That's it. I'm sticking firm on that. So it would be one of those types of swords. But anyway, irregardless of what we're going to decide now, I think we'll just leave it there for now. And an apparatus like that is good enough. I'm happy to go with something, even though it's very shoddily drawn. But I think that's given me at least a good enough indicator as to what I want for this kind of sword scabbard here. Okay. Alright. Okay, so where does that leave us now? Well, we've got the weaponry sorted. That's fantastic. All that down. The only kind of thing I would like to spend a bit of time doing now is emblems, some satchels, and other belts. Like, what do her belts look like when we zoom in on the detail in terms of are there any particular lines and markings, and how do they kind of wrap around each other, etc. How does that whole waist area look once we kind of zoom in and focus on that section?